Welcome to DAX Machina. Join us as we explore the mysteries of this world. Cryptids, monsters, macabre tales, and horror stories abound. Could they be true? Are monsters real?
Good evening, folks, and thank you for joining us on another edition of DAX Machina. Joining me tonight is my brother from another mother, Anthony Pitbull Canatella. Jesus Payan is going to be joining us at some point tonight. He's having some connection issues, so he's not able to get internet where he's at. So he's trying to get a signal so he can get through. So in the meantime, we'll just kind of start talking about a few things and kind of go from there. Brother, how you doing tonight?
I'm good. You know, life. You know what's going on, but besides that, yeah, I'm all right. Things are hanging in there. So
about all any of us can do.
Yeah, it rained here almost all day today. Thunderstorms and crazy weather here. I mean, really, it rains here almost every day now. I don't get it, but
well, it's kind of the rainy monsoon season down there.
Yeah, so it is what it is. It is what it is. But yeah.
So you were telling me before we started the show that you'd finally heard back from the guy that sent us those pictures about being the Bigfoot attacking his house.
Yeah, Scott. He had a medical issue back in March. I'm going to try to get him on the show and talk about what's going on his property with him and his wife. I know he's up in the northern part of Florida. Where these things are actually harassing him and, throwing rocks at him, beating on his house, ripping lights off the house, breaking into the house in the back. And I mean, we talked about it. So he's got pictures of them. The eye shine across behind the house. He's got pictures of that one on the crawl space of the house. So I don't know if the activity's still going on or if he's done something about it. But he's just to let everybody know, he's very, very adamant. And I mean strongly adamant about shooting the male leader of this five Payan group because this thing is very hostile towards him, and he did nothing to it.
Yeah, well, that's the thing is, I've never really advocated for killing one.
No.
But I don't hunt black bear either. But if one's attacking my house, that's a whole different matter. So can't really say anything negative about the guy wanting to shoot one because if one was messing in my house and trying to get in and harassing my girlfriend, I'd probably shoot it too.
Yeah, he tried everything to get this clan to stop. And from what I understand, I might have the story a little bit wrong, but I guess the lady behind them was taking care of them and feeding them, and it was a couple of acres away. So now the house is abandoned. The lady passed away. No one's done anything with the house. And now they're coming around his house for the past, I think, 2 years now.
That was this image, right? Oh, yeah. There we go.
There we got him. There's the man, the legend, the myth.
Hey, guys.
How you doing, brother?
It's been an adventure.
Yeah.
Running around today. It's wife's birthday today, so I was trying to put up decorations and do all kinds of stuff, get stuff done, and jump on here. And I'm here though. Hi, everybody.
Glad you made it, brother.
Right.
How things going down your way?
They're going good. Been watching that Terminal List show.
I did. My wife and I watched it all in like 2 days.
It's a badass show, isn't it?
That is a very stressful show.
Mm-hmm.
Getting my PTSD all riled up.
The last couple of episodes, and I'm not going to do any spoilers because we actually may have a lead on getting Jack Carr on the show.
Yeah,
Doc knows him.
I'm barely to the part where it's the episode after he blows up that mountain.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Well, when you get to the last couple episodes, man, it is a freaking gut punch.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, it is a brilliant writing. Just absolutely brilliant writing.
Yeah,
and for once, I didn't even mind Chris Pratt.
No, he's got like 6 other books that they're making into the same series, different episodes.
Yeah, I would
Right.
totally love for them to do that with my books.
I guess he struck a deal up with Amazon Prime, and they're doing the other seasons on the books.
Right?
So that's going to be really, really good. Really good.
Heck yeah.
So it took him almost 4 years to get the contract, though, man. That's
Damn.
the crazy thing, yeah. So I've been watching them.
I'll keep my fingers crossed, and hopefully I can get a similar thing.
Yeah, that'd be sweet.
One day for sure. All you gotta do is keep on trying.
That would be
Exactly.
nice.
You know. I'm writing the comic book dude Alan, because I emailed him the link, because my newer phone that's now broken too. I'm using my older phone for the emailing, because my new phone, I don't know if you can see how it's.
Yeah.
You can only see half of it.
Yeah, why?
It fell down,
Oh, okay.
and I have ceramic tile floors in the kitchen.
Ugh.
Yeah, that'll do it.
Brother, you were deaf on phones.
$1,200 phone.
What?
Ouch.
And guess how the I have insurance on it, so that's great. Now it only costs $300 for the deductible.
Oh, that's not bad.
Well,
Yes, it is.
It's
That's
better.
horrible.
it's
Yeah.
better than paying another
Yeah,
$1,200.
you know what I could do
True,
with that?
true.
Look.
So I'm like juggling
Yeah.
phones. Each one can do a certain thing. You know what I mean? So I'm trying to write Alan right now. Hey dude, okay. Yes, dude, I got the email. I just got that text. Okay, so now I'm gonna tell him that we're on, and the email is in his email, or the link is
Awesome.
in the email. Okay,
Northwood says if they do any of my books, he hopes it's the Wild Hunt ones.
Alan,
Dude,
we
I would
are
love
on
for them to do any of the
podcast.
series.
The link is in your email. Come on in. Okay,
That
sorry about
Neil
that,
says
guys.
get an otter box.
You know what though? I had one on mine. They're not
Look,
that great.
I have a
Yeah, they're not
case
that
on
great.
yeah.
Well,
I had
you
one
know,
But,
on my iPhone.
that's why I don't buy iPhones, because the one I had I broke really
Yeah.
easily.
Mine
Right.
too.
By
And I'm not
chance,
paying for all those apps either. Those apps are
Oh.
like ridiculously expensive.
right? Did you get a chance to look at those drawings at all, the sketches?
Yes, those are really good, dude.
Cool, right?
Hell yeah, those are badass.
So that's the same thing I want to do with whatever we do, because I want to do well, not on every single project, but I want to do a book, film, comic.
Oh yeah. Well, engaging across
You know?
multiple media is the way to do it anymore.
Right,
Yeah. So
Because
And
then
then-
you get overlapping fan bases.
right.
exactly, and the film for Breaking the Dead is slowly getting longer and longer, which I don't want it to do. I want to keep it pretty short, but hey, if it works, it works. So now I'm trying to get that RV,
Heck yeah. I don't blame you.
Heck yeah. So I sent you the reason why, like I said, I hadn't sent you a bunch of pictures is because the phone that I can email with that has the pictures, hey Alan,
How's it going?
that
too bad. How you
phone
doing?
has like this much memory left. So I was trying to send you bunches, but it
Right.
wouldn't even let me see what the pictures were to attach them. So I'm gonna be sending you small groups of photos that are about that one subject, I guess. You know what I mean? Each time, like
Right.
the last ones I just sent you is the original image of Bailey the Bigfoot, and then the enhanced versions and the comparison to Patty and stuff.
Anyways.
Well, since I
Alan.
have not formally met Alan,
Yes.
Jesus, do you want to introduce him?
Yes, Alan, this is D.A. Roberts, the
How you doing,
author,
sir?
and
Doing good. How about
the
yourself?
host of the podcast. And then you've got Anthony above my head. It's a picture
doing,
right
man?
now.
How you doing?
How you
They
doing,
run
Anthony?
they run
nice to meet
this here show, and Alan, for everybody, he is my co-creator and partner in this project, the multiple projects that we're working on, doing the comic book stuff and graphic novels. So he owns and operates Eighth World Comics, and he's
Awesome.
Nice.
great at what he does, and we're making some really cool stuff.
Heck yeah.
Nice.
I saw the images you sent me were pretty badass.
We appreciate that all the way.
Well,
Not a problem.
who did the drawings?
It's a friend of mine, Lee Reese. I hired him for a couple projects now. So
Oh, cool.
So are you guys going to do a Kickstarter to launch the comic, or?
we're doing. One second, let me pause this back up. So we're doing several fundraisers right now. We're fundraising for Jesus has an opportunity to buy like a replica RV. So we're trying to secure the funds to make sure we get that so we can go to San Diego Comic-Con. And then, so we will fund another Kickstarter or on a different fundraising platform possibly for the comic book itself.
Yeah.
And then he also has a film project that's correlating to the comic book that we'll probably put on Indiegogo.
Okay.
Do you guys want to tell everybody what the comic's about?
Yeah, so it's basically, or do you want to do it, Jesus?
You know I go by Jesus, man. You crazy wacky guy. Start calling you. I'm gonna start calling you Scotty. So what the project is we're doing a fan theory it's going to be called the multiverse of fan theory madness. So we'll be bringing to life through the comic books and hopefully film and so forth fan theories that they talk about, they make videos about, but nobody's actually made them a reality, you know?
Right.
So Breaking the Dead tells the story of how Breaking Bad caused The Walking Dead.
I was going to ask if that's what was leading into, because I know there was a fan theory going around that it was the blue meth that caused The Walking Dead to start.
Is that what happened?
So that's where we're kind of taking the main project we're doing right now with the Breaking the Dead.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Now, is that going to cause you guys copyright issues with Walking Dead and or Breaking Bad?
We're being really careful, and we're doing what falls under parody laws.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yep. And then the second project, which is really the third project, but it's not, is Breaking Bigfoot. We're doing the adventures of Breaking Bigfoot.
Which will be freaking awesome.
Yeah. So that comic book will cover all the stuff that I've done and experienced. And then I'll be also telling, just like on my YouTube channel, where I have the campfire and I'm in the corner floating, head, something like that in the comic book. But I'll be telling, stories from other reports and, wild man stuff and, crazy Choctaw stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, so then we're doing an anthology as well. You're cool with me mentioning that, Alan?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So
you go ahead and do the anthology.
So the anthology is essentially what we're going to do is about 120 to 140 page story of different collections of fan theory for multiple properties. So, for instance, we have one for like a Star Wars-esque story featuring, what happened with Mace Windu after the events of Revenge of the Sith.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Jesus mentioned a really cool ET theory yesterday, so we're gonna do something with that one.
Well, there was one shot in Star Wars where you could see the ET creatures in the Senate.
Yes, so you see the ET creatures up in the little chamber where they're doing the Supreme Counselor meeting and stuff.
Right.
And then also in ET, you see ET recognize the kid that's dressed as Yoda.
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna kind of play to that ET is actually a Jedi.
Wow. Yep. So
That's
George
pretty
Lucas
cool.
is listening. Listen, George. Shout out.
Right. But yes, we're gonna have about around 12 theories in the anthology.
Cool.
And then every once in a while we'll have a breakaway that's going to be just like the Breaking the Dead. It's its own thing, but still part of the collection,
Okay.
I think that's going to be awesome once it's complete.
Right.
Yeah.
DA, would you tell Alan what we're doing?
We're kind of working on a collective project where we're going to do a version of do a screenplay and possibly even a graphic novel based on the Choctaw Bigfoot War of 1855.
Right. Jesus has mentioned something about that.
Yep.
Well, the more I dig into it, I mean, there's a lot of people that on both sides of the fence say the story happened, the story didn't. But the thing is that I'm finding a lot of correlations that make it really, really
Evident is
Yeah.
Plausible.
Well, one, Joshua LaFleur really existed. He was a real guy, and he died in 1855.
He was a general.
The places they mention are really there. When I first thought it was just one of the first things I heard about it, I thought it was going to be just in Choctaw territory. And if you look at the map from that area, and I've got that right here, look how huge Choctaw territory is. But then I found more information that said it was in the McCurtain, the McCurtain County Wilderness Area, which is a national park. And that narrows it down a lot. Of course, we've got things like this. Did Joshua LaFleur and members of the Choctaw tribe really take on a group of murderous wood apes in 1855?
Right.
I tend to think it actually happened. I mean,
I think it did.
And that's what, when I was looking at the story earlier, me and DA were talking about it, and I did some research on it too. And what made, like, these Braves that were on the horses were all 7 foot and bigger.
Yeah, the Tooby brothers.
Okay.
Yeah.
What made them go buck crazy is when the general, because he was a general, this gentleman, he was half Choctaw, half American, actually rushed one of the Bigfoot and shot at it because it was holding a child. And when he shot at it, he dropped the child, and it reached over and grabbed him and ripped his head off. It ripped LaFleur's head off. And that's what made the other Braves go into a frenzy and kill all of them. And the other Brave chased down the last 5th one,
right,
and took its head off.
My phone's dying, so I might cut out a minute.
Right.
Okay.
But they said that they burned all the bodies and they buried all the children.
Yeah.
But I mean,
what makes me believe that it's plausible is the fact that you know how, like you just said that it knocked out the horse's head.
Yeah.
No, it killed.
They ripped off the horse's head.
It ripped off the general's head.
Do say that again? I can hardly hear you.
It ripped off the general's head. The half Choctaw, half American. It ripped off LaFleur's head.
I had also heard that
it killed his horse, and when he fell to the ground, it grabbed him and tore his head off.
Right.
Yeah. Well, just because when I was in the Navajo res, when I talked to that guy that had his horse have its hind leg ripped off, so if it can rip off a hind leg of a horse, then can knock off a human head, a horse head, whoever's head they want.
Yeah,
well, something else to me that lends credibility to this story is if you do any digging into the McCurtain County wilderness area, there are accounts even today coming out of there of what they refer to as the McCurtain County Wild Man.
Yep.
So even if the story's not true, there's enough truth to it to lend credence to something happening in that area.
Yeah, Tony said this. Tony put it up. Well, he grew up in Oklahoma and have fished down in the McCurtain County near the Broken Bow Lake.
There's a lot of stories coming of Bigfoot sightings near Broken Bow Lake.
Right.
There really are.
Alan, you remember me sending you the top secret magic script?
Yeah.
So me and DA we're gonna turn that into a book. So me and you are gonna do the graphic novel. Me and him are gonna make it a book, and then we already have the screenplay written for the film. You know what I mean? So we'll have all kinds of cool stuff happening between us here.
Definitely.
2023 and beyond is going to be really, really, really cool.
Yeah, I think so. But with the McCurtain County thing, there's just so much evidence that points to something in that area. Well, there's even Bigfoot activity even today. There are lots of stories from the past in that area. So, to me, it just lends credibility to the fact that LaFleur was a real guy and he died in that year. And that can be historically checked. It just lends so much credence to this story.
Not to cut everybody off.
Hey, don't cut me off.
Jesus, where can they donate the money for the RV?
Oh, Alan, could you read it's Kickstarter.com.
I I will drop the link into the chat. I think that's possible, right?
Yeah, it
Yes.
should be Kickstarter.com/Breaking Bad RV Expedition.
Okay. Because Meg, I guess William asked Meg, and she was asking about, the
Yeah,
RV.
so we found this RV. I don't know, for all the people that follow Breaking Bad, my friend, his name's Dave Lehman. He's a science teacher in Albuquerque. He's the one that wrote the obituary in the Albuquerque paper for Walter White that became real famous because it wasn't real, but they didn't realize it. Well, he found a Breaking Bad RV, exact same year, everything, that runs and doesn't have a lot of miles on it, and said, "Hey, Jesus, I found your RV." Because I've been looking for one because we were making the film we needed for a film, and we want to go on an expedition or trip or adventure in the RV and drive from New Mexico all the way to San Diego Comic-Con in the RV, and we're going to film the whole thing. And some of the people that donate get to go with us on the trip and debut the comic and movie, The Breaking Dead, at the Comic-Con. So that's what we're trying to raise the money for, to pay off the RV and for gasoline to get there.
Yeah, I know, because the gas isn't cheap anymore.
And we have some, no, it definitely is not. And we have some really cool things in there that you can get in on as, part of contributing to the campaign. Like, for instance, VIP spots in the RV itself when we tour to San Diego Comic-Con with the comic.
Right.
And there's also an opportunity to have yourself depicted in the comic as one of the eventual walkers that try to attack our main core group of people.
Nice. Very nice. Okay.
Gail Drake said she heard it was children and women. Yeah, they were abducting people from the villages. But I believe it said there was, let me find it real quick, find it in my notes.
45 children?
Yeah, 40, over 40 children.
40 children in a matter of like a month span. And
that was like 19 women or something like that?
Yeah, and that's what set them into that frenzy. That's when the Braves just got tired of it. Because they never had a problem with them, they said, at all. They respected each other, and then that was it.
Is in Oregon. Lucky him.
Yeah, right?
I wish I could be in those forests chasing some Bigfoots,
Tony Hero says the all-female Bigfoot group Sisters of the Moon have so much activity near Broken Bow. Samurai Chatter recording, and they found something called the Killing Field, bones everywhere. There was one of those found here in southwest Missouri, too.
Yeah.
Here, too, in New Mexico.
Cowboy Five Ring says Choctaw stories is interesting. I think it really happened. It said that the Tubby men fought the Sasquatches were 7 feet tall and 300 pounds. Those are big dudes.
Yep, definitely. I ain't 7 feet tall, but I weigh 350.
I think this one's for you, Jesus. Yeah, he says, so the highway patrol sees the Breaking Bad RV going down the road. What can go wrong?
Yeah,
right.
We'll definitely be up to some mischief.
You should have a fake meth lab inside when you're driving down the road.
Right.
You should go to one of those stores that makes old-fashioned rock candy and get a bunch of bags of the blue candy.
Oh, we'll definitely have some of that for sure.
Yeah, I talked to I'm friends with the candy lady that made it for Breaking Bad for the show.
Nice.
So I already got her to put aside like 6 pounds of the blue.
That's hilarious.
That's classic.
And the real goal with it is to kind of create an experience for people as we go like through different states and stop at different places. Because the comics come in regardless if we are able to do the cross-country tour or not.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that's going to be really cool. I'm really looking forward to getting into this the Bigfoot War though, because that's a project I'm looking forward to seeing. Where it can take us. I think the book and the comic version going down to get about roughly the same time will have a huge impact. And I think possibly we might even wind up seeing it on the screen.
And so when are you guys aiming to have that one be like format ready?
I don't know what time frame we can put on it, but I would say we probably have at least storyboards and a working script to go from, probably first of the year.
Okay. Definitely
What do you
realistic.
think? What do you think, Jesus? Would you agree with that time frame?
Yeah, like what we're doing with the film for Breaking the Dead is we're knocking out the comic, as we are. The storyboard is coming from the comics now. So if we finish what we're working on beforehand, and we start to work on what we're doing, then we'll have storyboards for that too.
Werewolf 5674 says cops will love you. Stream it live when you get stopped.
Yeah.
I always do.
These days, you got it.
Hell yeah.
Well, I am excited to get these projects rolling. I mean, it is adding to my writing schedule, but that is something I don't mind. When you're a writer, being busy is a good thing.
Yeah. Something about working on that blank page.
Do we have any? Can anybody see these these pictures that you guys did?
I don't have any of them loaded. It would take me a few.
The what?
The pictures. I guess DA is going to load up a couple of the pictures that artist drew.
If you don't mind.
No, not at all.
Let me.
Yeah, my mic isn't the best right now, guys. So my mic sucks right now. So I got to get a different mic system. So
I feel you.
I'm yelling right now to get it out there. The camera's great. The mic system just sucks.
Just like for the movie for the Great War, of 1855. I just think it'll because it's not the. I don't want to portray Bigfoots as all evil,
Right.
but they're not all good.
No.
Just like humans, there's good ones and there's bad ones, and there's ones that want to eat us, and there's ones that are vegetarian. But I just think it's a story that's worth telling, worth making into a movie, and worth, just the visuals we could do on the comic.
Right.
And then, the book version, of course, is even more in depth than, everything.
Mm-hmm.
So just on so many levels, I think it'd be a story that needs to be set in, modern day.
Not to mention stories like that have kind of taken a back seat since the whole superhero thing and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And the thing about Bigfoots is they're as strong as superheroes.
Oh yeah.
I would say they would definitely do some damage.
Heck yeah. So those
them
raids.
flipping over vehicles, and that's definitely some serious strength. I only loaded a few of them.
Yeah.
I'm not going to show all of them, obviously, but some of these panel roughs are looking pretty freaking cool.
Yeah.
And these are just the preliminary sketches, so.
Right.
Nice. Nice.
And
Looks like an old Camaro.
do you mind if we go into a little bit of the story, Jesus?
Go for it.
So essentially where we're kind of picking things up is, so I'm not sure how familiar you guys are with the show Breaking Bad or El Camino, but our story takes place like a couple years after the events of El Camino. Everybody's living with the fact that these events happened and Jesse's gone. Skinny Pete and his crew are just doing their own thing, laying low. And our character, Walt Jr., or what we're calling him in this, Boss, he basically is in college and he gets into a situation where he ends up having to, pay back his tuition, and he was already trying to start a business, so he ends up getting, kind of frustrated and trying to figure out a way to make some quick money, and he goes back home and remembers what his dad was doing. And so he decides he'll try to kind of pick up where his dad left off and start doing the business again and make money quick and get out quick. And so that's where he gets linked up with Skinny Pete, and then the chaos ensues and things aren't what they seem because he messes up the formula a little bit, and we end up getting the meth that turns everybody to walkers.
Okay.
Well, I think it's going to be really cool because I love Breaking Bad, and I liked like the first couple seasons of Walking Dead before it turned into a soap opera. But if you do the zombies right, I think it would really be something solid. But if Walking Dead or Breaking Bad give you guys any issues, remember I have a zombie series of books.
Good to know. Good to know.
Yep. And if, like I said, if Breaking Bad decides to attack or Walking Dead, if they want to advertise for me, that's fine, because
I was just gonna say,
worldwide news.
publicity is good publicity.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I've done nothing but represent Breaking Bad in a positive light, and visited hundreds of schools. Doing the same thing, representing Breaking Bad, fighting against drug abuse, all kinds of craziness, and
well, the cool thing is as long as we do our due diligence and make sure we follow the parody laws,
yep, we should be fine.
we are technically within our complete legal right to do so.
Right.
Well, which I think would be really cool. I mean, I would love to see it in comic form.
And if there's enough interest behind it, once fans actually get a hold of it and kind of digest it a little bit, and they want more, it could lead to them wanting to do it themselves.
Right, exactly. Karen Polson posted an interesting comment. It says, reading the story, I was more blown away about the tubby men that were so tall. The patriarch was 8'2", and his son was 7'2". Jesus, are you thinking along the lines I'm thinking, like they might have had some Sasquatch blood in there? Because there's stories of Native Americans that have been abducted and later came back and bore children.
It's possible. I'll give it possible.
It's very uncommon for Native Americans to be that big.
Yeah. Well, you got to understand that in the early 1800s and 1700s and 16, when people from around the world were traveling to the Americas, they were running into very, 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 very tall natives. Like the Mayan people, the Mayan royalty, they were all giants. They were all tall, 7 foot plus. And then the farmers and the workers, they were the normal sized Mayans that you see today, the little fellers, and it would explain why I'm 6'3", 6'4" with some boots on, which is really it's kind of large for the average Chicano in the Americas today, but I don't. There has been mixing. That's one of my arguments has been that since we are compatible with each other, and the stories of the Bigfoots, taking women and getting them pregnant,
Right.
why not? Why wouldn't there be bloodlines that come down from those lineages? Just some have way more, of our version of human traits than the other. Just like the DNA specialists always get mad at me when I say that the hypertrichosis might be the same thing. Just way down the line, they've lost the height, but they still have the hair follicle situation, from back then. And the DNA is like, no, that's not a trait like that. It's like, I'm just saying, okay, it's okay. I believe you, it's all right. But I'm just saying, you never know, know. But yeah, 8'2", that's pretty tall. It's still within the range of humans so far, from our recorded history, just in the last 100 years.
Rare instances of giantism, you find people that big, but they generally don't live long.
No, and they can't run around and beat up stuff. Yeah, these guys were like Shaquille O'Neal, not dealing with a pituitary gland issue. It was just in their DNA, and they were apparently had very, very, very extraordinary strength as well.
Which is something else. I mean, you do find stories of people getting that large, but the fact that they would mention that detail, if they were just going to make up a story, why would they mention those guys being that big? Why would they just put that detail in there? That is a detail that is not necessary to the story.
Well, not only that, but look just about anywhere in the world. There is pretty much everywhere you go some kind of story that relates to Sasquatch or Bigfoot.
Right.
And there's no way everybody in the world is like in on some big conspiracy thing that they're like, hey, tell everybody about Bigfoot. Blah, blah, blah.
Well, I mean, even the normal Mediterranean, where I come from, my dad and my mom, from Sicily in Italy, I think the normal height is like 5'5", 5'6". You know, I'm 5'9", and I'm 220 pounds, and I'm not fat. You know, where did I get my height from? Where did where did that come from? You know, like.
I guess that makes Anthony our show's official consigliere.
Yeah, I'm just saying. You know, my dad. I was always taller than my father.
Right.
You know, and my dad was like 5'6". You know, but you know, even my uncle, all my my dad's side, they're all short. My grandmother was 4'5". 4'5". My grandmother from Sicily.
That's a wee lass. A wee lass.
Let me tell you, you crossed her path, she cut you, you know what, off.
Yeah, it's usually the smaller ones that are mean.
Yeah, she was not a person to mess with. No. Yeah. But like even you, Jesus, you know, you're Spanish. You have that what Mexican blood in you and everything. You know, you're like what, 6'2", 6'3"?
About 6'3" and a half. I've got the Mayan, French, Italian blood.
That's big, man.
Yeah.
You know,
Shrinking, but I used to be 6'4".
Yeah, we all tend to settle a little as we get older.
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, I understand what you're saying. I mean, everything, the DNA has changed drastically in this country. I mean, even like my son is 6'1", 6'1", and my ex-wife is 5'5". Where did that come from? You know,
Right.
like where did he get that? You know, like he towers me.
Right.
You know? So,
Two of my sons are taller than me, and I'm way taller than my wife.
Right. So I mean, it's just genetics, I guess. You know, but you know, being 8 foot tall, being a Native American.
Yeah, my daughter's 6'2".
Really?
Yeah, her mama is Caucasian. Her family comes from the Nordics.
Well, there you go. Yeah,
Her grandma's 6'4".
Yeah, they're all big people.
Wow.
They're all tall people.
Yeah, we some biggins.
You know, I mean, genetics. It's all about genetics, man. Genetics.
So if when we do get the storyboard launched for the Bigfoot Choctaw Bigfoot War, what do you guys think about adapting that to a comic? Do you think that's plausible? Do you think that's something that we'll be working on as well?
No, well, of course, if Alan's company's game, Jesus' game, because I think it would make a great graphic novel.
Yeah, I mean, I would recommend going the graphic novel route with it for sure, rather than like a one-shot comic.
It's also going to be pretty, not just to use the pun from graphic novel, it's going to be pretty graphic. I mean, if it's killing horses and ripping heads off people, it's going to be pretty graphic.
Yeah, because I want the first part of the first half really of the story. Well, even more than that actually, because the actual battle is at the very end. You know, but yeah, we're gonna tell the story of the Choctaw people and show them disappearing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and you know what's going on, because the Choctaw people don't know what's going on. But if we want, we can show comic book wise or in the book to explain what happens after they get taken. You know, that the rest of the tribe don't understand what's happening, why they're disappearing and whatnot.
Right.
So there's a lot that we get to. That's why I want to research as much as we can, and just so that we can stay along the lines with reality to a point. You know, of course, we're going to have to take some liberties, you know, here and there for the.
We're going to have to dramatize it. If we're going to make it novel length, then there's going to have to be a lot more to the story.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
I do intend to go down to the McCurtain area, and because I like to walk in the area before I write about it.
Yeah. At some point, I'd love to do some of the lab research too. You know.
Yeah, it's one thing to write about a place you've never been to, but you can look at Google Earth and get descriptions of the terrain.
Right.
No amount of online research will ever tell you how a place smells, or how the air felt when you were there, or how the ground felt under your feet. These are all tactile sensations you've got to walk an area for. So I guess I kind of take a cue from Louis L'Amour. I like to walk the areas I write about.
Well,
And
even
just
when
the
we talked
visuals.
about, me and DA were talking about, I was telling him when I was doing the research, that the Choctaw Nation, they actually migrated all the way to Louisiana, to Georgia, to Florida. Some tribes, some clans of the Choctaw that settled here, that are now Seminole and Miccosukee, and then some in Louisiana. There's some Choctaw, which I didn't know. I thought it was just up in that one northern part of America, but they traveled that far. I mean, so they had a very, very, big range when they traveled.
Heck yeah. Because at some point down the road, way down the road, I want to do the Hanobia incident as well.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I would like to do that one as well.
And that would be in a
I know
different.
one of the guys. I know
Oklahoma?
one of the guys who's involved in it. I know him personally, and I tried to talk him into getting together and writing the story and doing it from the perspective of someone that was there. And he goes, "I'm not going to lie to you." He says, "I'm tired of being ridiculed for that story." He said, "I wish we'd never even went public with it." He says, "Write whatever you want to write it however you want to write it. It's this however you write the story is on you. I want nothing to do with it." And I don't.
Are you familiar with that story?
Oh, quite familiar. Yeah.
No, I
I'm
know
not-
Alan.
You asked Alan, not me. I'm sorry.
I would definitely probably need a refresher, but I used to delve into some Bigfoot stuff for sure.
Yeah, DA, would you mind giving them the cliff notes right
Sure.
now of that incident? Trust me, Alan, it'll make a badass episode of the Adventures of Breaking Bigfoot.
So back, I want to say this happened in the early '90s. If I remember, I'd have to ask my buddy. I don't want to say his name because I don't want to bust him out on the air. But I need to get some details right with him. But I believe it was in the early '90s. They owned this plot of land near Hanabi, Oklahoma, and they deer hunted a lot. That's how they help feed their family. They went together and bought this parcel of land, and they hunted it routinely. Well, they started noticing like deer meat going missing out of their deep freeze, which they kept in a shed that wasn't in the house. It was an unattached shed. So they started padlocking the door to where the deep freeze was at because they thought somebody was just sneaking onto the property and stealing it. And then the door got ripped off, and the meat kept going missing. So they moved it into the house. And then they started realizing that what those things were. They started trying to get in the house. They stalked their kids. They scared the guy's sister. And when they finally got tired of it, these guys were hillbilly deer hunters. These guys grew up in the woods. They decided they were done, and they contacted a certain Bigfoot organization that I won't name by name, and they sent some people out. And apparently, according to my buddy, they were next to useless. When the creatures showed up, they basically fled. And they ended up getting into a firefight with these things, shot several of them. And at one point, they had shot one and put it down. It was wounded and laying on the ground, and others were trying to get to it to drag it out of the line of fire. And they had to defend their home several times. And they finally moved their family out of the house, sent them to live with a relative while they tried to defend the house. And they talked to somebody that told them, they said, "Look, you've been planting all these snow peas and everything in your area to attract the deer. Go out there and get rid of all of those plants so the deer will move on, and they'll move on with them." And that they finally ended up doing that. And I believe they still own the land, if I'm correct about that, but they don't live on it anymore. But now because that incident's famous, they have a huge Bigfoot festival down in Hanabi, Oklahoma every year. It's in October.
Okay.
Yep.
So this would be like in a sequel or in the same book?
No, it would be in another series. It'd be a standalone. Maybe that one would be probably more of a regular comic book size for
like one shot, like spin-off of. Okay.
That area,
the Adventures of Breaking Bigfoot the usual one's going to be 20 to 30 pages, right? The comic books. But if we have a standalone like the Choctaw Bigfoot War thing that we're doing on a bigger level, those ones graphic novels. But we could probably do the Hanobia Yeah, just in regular form. But you know, if you think
alternatively to the graphic novel, you could do volumes for each adventure.
True.
Okay, do all graphic novels or what?
Just do like separate comic books for each adventure. Like
Yeah,
20.
that's what I want to do. That's what I want to do. It's going to be that's why it's the adventures of Breaking Bigfoot, and then on this adventure, it's this one, and there's you know each
Right.
episode, not episode. What are they when they're comic books? That's what
Issue or volume.
issues. There you go. Yeah, or volumes. Yeah,
Well,
I
there's
see.
so much-
Go ahead.
Sorry, Jesus. Go ahead.
No worries.
Go ahead, bud.
Bigfoot is cool. Your turn.
I was going to say that there's so much activity in southeast Oklahoma. The area around Honneby is centered around the Kiamichi Mountains, but there's so much activity, and that's near Brown Springs. That's down not too far from Falk, Arkansas, as the crow flies.
Right.
The Ouachita Mountains, all that area is very, very active. For Bigfoot sightings. It was the reason I chose that area to set my first of my Codename Wild Hunt books, because that area is just so active with Bigfoot.
Right. Heck yeah.
Yeah. And then
Short, in about 2 minutes, guys, I'm going to have to take off to go pick up my wife from work as usual. You know the story.
Oh, yeah.
Not a problem, man. Not a
Are
problem.
you guys going to still be here when I get back or what?
Well, it
Yeah,
depends.
probably.
It depends if you come
Okay,
back.
like I
or
said,
not.
it takes me 5 minutes to get there.
Yeah,
So I
yeah.
leave at 7:50, get there, wait 5 minutes, pick her up, get back here by 8:10ish. You know.
Cool. Yeah, I don't see any reason why we wouldn't still be on.
Cool. So I'll be back, guys. I'm gonna put the dogs in the kennel and whatnot. Right here's the topic: Bigfoot.
All right, we'll see you in a few, man.
I'll be
man.
back.
Nicholas Shaughnessy had a great comment. He said, "My first encounter was north of Honneby, 5 miles. I would love to hear your encounter story, dude. I've driven through that area. I have not yet got a chance to get down there to do any research. My wife and I went to Durant, Oklahoma, because she likes to go to casinos. We went to the Choctaw Casino there in Durant, and my plan was Brown Springs is 8 minutes from there. And my plan was to go spend the afternoon or in the part of the evening down at Brown Springs while she was having fun at the casino. The problem was it had rained so much when we were down there, everything was flooded, and I just didn't think I could get my car back in there. And well, I could probably get in, getting out would probably be the problem. But we are planning another trip down to that area, and I am going to spend some time traipsing around not only Brown Springs, but I'm going to go to Honneby. In fact, actually, we're planning on doing the Siege of the Bigfoot, the Honneby Bigfoot Festival. Not this year, but probably next year, or hopefully we'll have an RV by then, because it's a big, like a 3 or 4 day camp out Bigfoot festival. They've got all kinds of big name guests down there, so I want to be able to go down. Go down with an RV
edition. Maybe you can use the Breaking Bad
that
RV.
would be awesome. But the wife and I, for years, we've talked about if my books really took off, buying like a large motor home and having a trailer with books in it and just going around the country doing shows.
That would be awesome.
William, I've got to thank William again. He sent.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Yeah, bro.
He had one earlier too, and I didn't get a chance to say something.
I know we've been too busy bullshitting, but yes, thank you.
William, thank you so much, man. I appreciate it, brother.
Yeah, and then
Papa Bear says these encounters are the only reason I could live in Picklad, Oklahoma.
Well, I'm going to have to go do some stuff myself for a minute, but it was nice to meet you and come on for a minute. I'll get your info from Jesus, DA, and we can kind of connect and figure out storyboard and stuff like that.
Okay. All right, man. It was good meeting you, and
nice meeting you.
You as well, Anthony.
Have a good night, man.
You too.
Corey Cole says, I've noticed the deer here in Cotton County are staying in town year-round instead of just during hunting season. Dude, that's not uncommon.
Yeah.
My son and I just yesterday were driving here in this middle of city of Springfield, and I had to brake to avoid getting hit by a deer.
You know why?
It was a doe, and it was right in the center of town.
You know why they said they're doing this? And I watched a thing on it the other night. They were talking about, and I'm not getting in, they talked about the COVID when everybody was shacked up in their homes, that there was not a lot of people out, walking trails, doing this. So now the animals started venturing out, which nature started taking over after the 2 years.
Yeah.
And they're having problems all over Alaska, Colorado. I mean, hell, they got grizzly bears in California now.
Yeah.
That are in California. And people are like, oh, we don't have grizzlies here. Yeah, they do.
Well, they hadn't had reportings of wolves seen in Missouri probably since the late 1800s, and they're saying they're coming in northern Missouri now. We're starting to have populations of deer, of wolves. I just read that just a couple days ago.
There's sightings of Mexican grizzlies. They're called silver grizzlies.
Coming up from the south?
Well, they were supposed to be extinct.
Really?
In the 1901 or 1900s. I think the last one that was sighted was 1960. Okay, and somebody shot it and killed it. But now these farmers in Mexico and New Mexico are claiming, hey, there's something killing my livestock and it's a bear. And they're like, no, there's no way. And then they got accounts and pictures, and it's a friggin' grizzly.
I'm gonna have to look into that. That's kind of a cryptid bear, kind of cool.
They call it a silver. Is it a silver grizzly? I think a silver grizzly, a Mexican silver grizzly.
I'll look that up.
They were very, very populated back. You're talking 1800s in Mexico, and people are like, there's no such. Yeah, there was a silver grizzly in Mexico, up in the mountain regions, and also in New Mexico. Look at the jaguars that are making their way back into Arizona.
I'm seeing jaguars in Texas now.
Right. I mean, they were supposed to be gone over 75, 80 years out of the United States. Now they got them on trail cams.
Yeah. Tony here has pointed out, it says pronounced Kiamichi. I'm glad. Thanks for pointing that out, Tony. How's the other mountain range? Is it Wachitas or Wachitas? And it's not the Wichita Mountains, which are the other side of the state. Yeah. It's the Ouchitita or something like that. I thought it was Wachitas or Wachitas, but I could be completely wrong about that on both counts. But I thought that Kiamichi was correct, but I kind of took a stab at it because I've only ever seen it in print. Mark Napier says, get a truck tent and live dangerously. Yeah, I'm not sure my back will let me sleep in a truck, but who knows?
Yeah, I'm not going to do that either. Sorry. That's crazy. I'm looking at the comments here.
I am too. I'm trying to catch up.
What did he put? Somebody commented. Hold on, let me see this. Robbie, Anthony, let me put this up. I have a SOCOM ready for the trip to Florida.
Heck yeah, man. I need to build me a SOCOM too.
Yeah. I told you how much the uppers were. I told you.
Yeah, dude, right now I'm so broke I couldn't pay attention.
Well, I told you earlier. Remember the conversation we had off the air? Mm-hmm. So
yeah,
let me take care of that when things work. When things fall my way, trust me. I'll even take care of you, my brother. You will have a nice one. And a full rifle, and I don't mean to get off subject, a full SOCOM rifle for lower and upper, you're looking at about $525.
That's really not bad.
No.
We're going to be tightening the belt for the next few months.
Right. You don't understand what I'm saying. We talked about it a couple of weeks ago. Well, last week we talked about it. So hopefully when everything works out, I will help you. Like I said, don't worry about it. You've
awesome.
Done it for me. You know that. You've done it for me. And I just want to return the favor to you and Annette. You guys have been awesome to me. So,
hey man, I'm just happy to do it.
I know. But that's when you've got true friends. It's not like that one song when you're stuck on the side of the road. You call someone and like, I can't come. Sorry. It's how it is.
Nicholas Shaughnessy says it's pronounced Washita. Okay, that's good to know. Brian Merritt says, I heard today people have been seeing the short-faced bear in Alaska.
Yeah.
Holy crap. The short-faced bear is massive.
Yeah,
that's the transformation I based on for Kodiak in my
Yeah.
books.
They said that they were extinct, or not well, maybe not extinct, but the population was so scarce. But I know that. I know the other one is the polar bear and that grizzly bear, that hybrid. They're finding a lot of them now. That like dwarf the size of a grizzly. These things are massive out there. So, DA, I sent Anthony the picture of it. Of what? What did you send me, Robbie? I don't know what you're talking about, sir. Sorry. Did he send you a picture?
I think he's sending it to me and having me send it to you.
I don't
Hang
know.
on, I've got to check my messages on
Okay.
everything.
I don't know. Maybe the SOCOM. If
I
that's
don't,
it.
I don't think I still have that picture. I'd have to find it.
Robbie, I used to deal in firearms, so I mean, I used to build them also, and I worked for another company out of Miami. So yeah, man, I know my thing about firearms. But yeah, I'm gonna build one for DA and ship it to him, and do mine too at the same time. But yeah, the 450 SOCOM, the 450 Bushmaster, or the 458 SOCOM round.
Yeah, I've wanted the SOCOM for a long time.
I'd love to get the 4570, but I'm not spending $5,000 on that.
Oh God, no. No, I still need to write that thing up you were wanting me to write up for Phoenix, but I haven't got it done yet.
Yeah.
I keep forgetting.
Yeah, Phoenix on, crazy. Good gun, good rifle.
Oh yeah, a beautiful rifle. I'm sure it's a fantastic shooter. I couldn't afford that.
Yeah. No, I'd be divorced and you'd be divorced. We'd be homeless.
That's a fact.
We'd be living together, one to the other.
Tony Harris says the mountain's pronounced Ouachita. Ouachita.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Because I wasn't sure how it was pronounced. I had somebody when somebody corrected me one time and said it's Wichita's. Like, no, it's not the Wichita Mountains. The Wichitas are farther west. This is a different one. It's spelled different.
He goes lions, tigers, and bears. What's next? Flying monkeys.
You never know.
You're probably right. You never know.
Northwood Scripted said a short-faced bear would be about 11 feet tall, standing on hind legs. I think the one that the one they found in the La Brea tar pits, I think it was like 14 or 16 feet tall. It was massive on its hind legs.
Yeah.
David Bice says, I want to build a Beowulf. The Beowulfs are pretty badass.
Yeah, they're nice. The kinetic energy.
We'd all be living together in a Breaking Bad army.
Yeah. We'd be traveling with Jesus if we ever did. If I did that, I know Annette would flip out, and I know Bobby would too. She'd be looked at. Yeah. She goes, "You built a $5,000 rifle? What are you nuts?"
Exactly.
She'd be like, But yeah.
But with all these animals that were allegedly extinct starting to be, I mean, even the thylacine, the Tasmanian tiger, they've been seeing that, and those were thought to have been extinct since, I don't know, the early 1900s, somewhere around in there.
Yeah, they just found, what else did they find in the Amazon? They found that one, was a marsupial, I think it was, that was supposed to be extinct, and they found it in the Amazon on a trail cam. They got a picture of it drinking out of a little stream, and the thing has it's supposed to be extinct for like over 100 years.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, all the stuff that they're finding now in the Congo, all new breeds of monkey, and now they have the other one, the billy ape that we talked about.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's so many crazy things that we don't even know about yet.
Toshi the Wolf says, I know in Alaska, outside the short-faced bear, they see the dire wolf and possibly the bear dog.
I was about to say the dire wolf. That one guy has that video of his was it a German Shepherd or a full-size Labrador?
I think it was a lab.
And that lab was like 110 pounds.
And that wolf just dwarfed it.
Dwarfed this friggin' dog.
It looked like a chihuahua next to
that. I mean, I was watching the video, and then they had the other video where the one walked across the road.
Mhm.
in Alaska. The guy caught it on his dash cam,
Yeah.
and the thing was it was above the rail guard. His back was above the rail guard.
That's
Walking across the highway.
That's a big wolf.
I was like, and they were both black. Both of these bulls were black.
Steve Patton says the Department of Conservation has reintroduced red wolves in the northern part of Missouri.
Yeah.
So it's just probably a matter of maybe a decade before we start seeing them in southern Missouri.
Yeah.
Because when they reintroduced black bears in Arkansas, down in the Ozarks National Forest, it wasn't about a matter of but 4 or 5 years before we started seeing them fairly commonly here in southern Missouri, and now they're almost a nuisance. The population's just taken off.
Oh,
they've gotten so bad that the Department of Conservation is talking about doing limited hunts on them.
Yeah, it's like here in Florida. People don't realize there's so many black bears in Florida. It's ridiculous. They opened it up. I think I was telling you they opened it up one year, one day. They had a whole week open for it. Now one day they got their quota and they shut it down.
Dang.
Yeah, I mean that's how many, and there's still plenty of them here.
Mm-hmm.
And that was
Corey Cole says, "Have you ever heard about the buffalo wolf?" Oh, that one's a new one on me.
Yeah.
Yeah, Corey, send me a link on those. I'd love to look into those. That's kind of cool. Let's see. Tombstone says, my mom had a full sighting of a thylacine with a smaller one near the house I grew up in years ago. Tomb, where do you live? Do you live down in Tasmania or in Australia?
Yeah, there's sightings in Australia, Tasmania, and New Zealand, I believe.
David By says, I plan on a 308. I've got a British 303 that I would use for just about anything, but that's just a bolt action World War II rifle. But I've knocked a few deers down with that thing over the years. So
Buffalo wolf, aka Great Plains wolf. I'm sorry.
Mark Napier just sent me a link on that.
Well, this is the right terminology, I guess. Naoma, yeah. She said it's called the Great Plains wolf.
Canis lupus nubilis, also known as the buffalo wolf or the loafer, is an extinct subspecies of gray wolf that once extended throughout the Great Plains from southern Manitoba and Saskatchewan in Canada southward to northern Texas in the United States. The subspecies was declared extinct in 1926. They were described as large, light-colored wolf with black and white varying between individual wolves, with some all white or all black. Native Americans of North Dakota told of how only 3 Great Plains wolves could bring down any size bison. Whoa!
Yeah, that's what. Yeah. She put it in there that says AKA Great Plains wolf.
Well, that's good to know.
Yeah.
If those things are making a comeback, whew.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. There's so much. And Tombstone said he's in Australia on the mainland. Yes. So I guess he is out there.
Corey says, I've got a photo of one, but it's not my pick. I'd love to see it. I wouldn't share it on the air, not without permission. So if you feel comfortable sharing it with me, I'd love to see it, but I understand if you don't. Robert Moore says, I've heard that the dire wolf is not a wolf at all, but is in the dog family. Yeah, well, technically, all wolves are in the dog family. Yeah. Dogs basically are descendants of modern wolves. The dire wolf is probably more closely related to domestic dogs than it is the wolf, but it's still a massive canine.
There it is. Okay, species.
Ronald says a 338 will do it. David By says, my brother has a 303, but it's hard to find ammo. Well, fortunately, I have a little bit put back, so won't say how much, but it's enough to get it done. Oh, no. What were you going to put up?
Meg. She put it up. Thylacine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I know
there's a lot of allegedly extinct animals that are still being seen today.
Yeah, they're seeing a lot of stuff in Papua New Guinea.
Yeah.
You know, that's the crazy. You got missionaries coming out of there, and you got American missionaries coming out of there that are like, there's some crazy stuff going on here.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Papa Bear says dogs are just lazy wolves. But what it was is wolves looked over and said, hey, they have couches.
Exactly. Like my two.
Yeah. Harley is a well documented couch dweller.
That's my two. My two pits are just, you know, Release.
Lance John Conlon said, I've seen 3 clear as day, no doubt about it. The pictures of a pterosaur floating around and then landing. No way of getting hold of that anymore. Yeah, there's a lot of stories of pterosaur type creatures, especially around the Four Corners area of New Mexico, Arizona, Colorado, and Utah, right where the Four Corners area.
Also, Papua New Guinea. That's where they had those big sightings of them flying around on that one ridge. So.
Tombstone says, we now have Tasmanian devils back on the mainland for the first time in a very long while.
Okay. Yeah, they're nasty too. Those
are
nasty as hell.
I wouldn't want to try to pick one up.
Aren't they from the badger family or no?
I couldn't tell you. I don't know off the top of my head.
I think they are. I think they're from the badger family, like like a wolverine or a badger.
The sheer number of previously believed extinct animals that are making reappearances is just kind of astounding. And the one that does really concern me is that short-faced bear, because putting one of those down, you are going to need some serious firepower to put one of those down. If one of those came into town, oh my God, they would have no problems whatsoever taking a person out. None. A bear is just massive.
Yeah, he said. Tombstone says, yes. Yeah, Anthony, they can be nasty. Yeah, watch a documentary on them things.
Corey emailed me the pic. I won't show it on the air, but I am interested in looking at it.
Well, the best is that when I was watching the documentary, a wolverine will actually take down an elk.
Dang.
An elk. I was like, huh? It actually cuts its back tendon on its leg when it attacks. So that's the crazy thing.
Corey, thank you for sending me that picture. That is a really cool picture. I won't share it on the air because it's someone else's picture, but it is a very, very cool comparison. And just got a picture I think I can share.
From what, Northwoods?
Yes, it is a size comparison on the wolves.
It's not his ex-wife, is it?
No, there's no ex-wife on that one.
I'm just asking because he's always making comments about his ex-wife. Yeah, that's a big friggin' wolf. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's probably, considering gray wolves can get to push 200 pounds, a really big one, that's probably a 300 to 400 pound animal.
Well, that's what that one looked like in the video. That thing was massive.
That thing was a freaking beast.
I know. And I was like, that can't be real. And that thing stood up when it was laying down, and that thing stood up, and I was like, whoa, it dwarfed that lab. I was like, that's not a regular wolf.
No,
I've seen regular wolves, but that's not. That thing was massive.
Oh yeah. And someone in chat earlier mentioned the Giants of Lovelock Cave. I found this that I wanted to share. That should give you a pretty good idea how big that thing was.
Yeah, West Coast. Yeah, he's been on. He's coming back on. He'll be on in a little bit.
He just had to go pick his wife up. Toshi the Wolf says, yeah, the black wolves were huge in those 2 videos.
Yeah. Those they did not look like regular wolves. I mean,
yeah.
I know a timber wolf. What? A timber wolf's the biggest right now? Mm-hmm. Okay. That wasn't even close to a timber wolf. I mean, this thing was, and the guy had to be at least 70 yards away when he was videoing it.
Yeah.
When that dog ran out to it, I was like,
generally, that video with the dog running out to it, generally something that's closer looks bigger, but even with the dog between him and the wolf, you can still tell the wolf was way bigger than that dog.
You're like, this thing is massive.
Thank you again, William. This is how modern science is. How modern is modern science is the question. You're not wrong. Thank you again for the super chat. You are not wrong at all. The problem is I make a big joke about it, about the British Museum. Oh no, that couldn't possibly exist. But that's exactly the way it is. I mean, unfortunately, until you drag a specimen in, they're like, nope, don't believe it, not for a second. And it's like the coelacanth. They didn't believe the coelacanth still existed. They claimed it had been extinct for millions of years till they found out the people of Madagascar thought they were tasty. Anthony, I think you froze up, brother.
Hold on. Here I am. It's the weather here.
Oh, okay. I thought it was me there for a second. I'm like, wait a minute, was it me?
But even the Japanese, even in Japan, off the coast of Japan, when they were catching them,
yeah,
you know, they were like, "Oh no, that doesn't exist anymore." And they're like, "Yeah, they do." They were pulling them up in nets. You know.
Toshi the Wolf says, "Not at all. Those things were units. I thought it was a dire wolf, but now after reading Apex Predator, I want to say the wolf that went after the lab was a Dogman." You know, I've said that because so many different Dogman stories start with them approaching on all fours like a regular wolf. They're described as just being massive regular wolves. And then they hear that popping sound. And that's been described in numerous stories about a popping sound, like someone popping their knuckles, and it stands up and it has hands. It makes me think that, and I know this is just my theory, everybody's theory on Dogman or Bigfoot is just as good as any of mine. But based on a lot of these accounts of people talking about them popping, it makes me wonder if they're capable of like reconfiguring their hands. Much like how a bat will fold its wings completely in and they won't even be, in the way at all. Yeah. I think that these things are capable of reconfiguring their paws into hands. And that would also explain this, why people will say that Dogman's hands look like a raccoon's hands, like they're spindly, because raccoons walk on all fours all the time, but they're capable of using their hands very dexterously. And that skeletal view of a raccoon paw.
I've seen a raccoon open up a can.
Oh yeah, I had a raccoon open my tent flap. It unzipped my tent coming in.
Yeah, I've seen that happen. I've seen it when I was out hunting. Go right into a cooler and pop a Tupperware top off, and you're like, "What the hell?" These things eat, fruit out of it.
Steve Padden says they've opened elk season here in Missouri for archery in October and rifle in December. Really? I wish I was still in shape to go, man. Elk meat is so freaking tasty. I love elk meat, and I could fill my deep freeze with one elk.
We talked about it earlier. Guess what?
Might be happening.
It might happen. Well, I might be there. So.
Mark Napier says if I hear a popping sound while camping in LBL, I'll be getting my KS7 ready. There have been so many stories of people talking about these creatures approaching on all fours and hearing that popping sound, and it's been described as like a breaking bone sound or a cracking knuckle sound. And I firmly do believe that Dogman is capable of reconfiguring its hands into paws. And that would also explain why a skeleton has not been found. Because if they find a large wolf skeleton and the paws look like paws, or if I just find a body, they're going to go, well, that's a really big wolf, and move on. But I don't know if you guys have ever had large dog breeds. I had an English Mastiff, and when he was young, he would jump up on me. Of course, once he got older, he couldn't really jump up like that because they're so heavy. But when he was a year or two old, when he was still super active, he would jump up and put his paws on my shoulder. And he would be looking me in the face, and he'd be leaning forward. If that dog were fully upright, just standing on his hind paws, his head would have been 7.5, 8 feet off the ground. That dog was massive. And he was a $180. He was only about 180 pounds.
John's pit bull. We got Gage. Gage is a blue pit. He's about 120 pounds, man.
Harley will jump up. Harley's like 80, 85 pounds at the most. Yeah. And he's a pit bull mix. And he'll jump up and put his paws on my chest, and he can look me in the face, and he's about as tall as he gets. But my English hind legs was huge. And he's back. What's up, brother?
Hey, I'm gonna jump up. I'm gonna put myself on pause and go get some go-go juice because I haven't slept. DA knows why. I'll tell you later, Jesus.
All right.
I just haven't slept, man. I think of some family issues right now that's not too great, but I'll tell you guys later. You know what I'm saying. So I'll be right back. Let me grab some coffee.
Awesome.
Right. Yeah, I've had some big dogs too. Used to have a Great Dane, so yeah, I've had the big ones. You know.
Yeah, we were just talking about how like these there were big sightings of dire wolves, even the short-faced bear. A lot of animals that we thought were extinct are being seen.
Yep.
And how it was possible that Dogman spends most of its time on all fours and stands up and more, and it's because a lot of the sightings they report hearing a popping sound before they stood up. So if it's able to open its paws up into hands, that would explain why the skeletons of one have never been found, because when it's found they just think it's a big wolf.
Yeah. No,
I mean, that photo that came out of Montana where someone had shot and killed an enormous wolf, and of course the Department of Conservation up there was like, oh, it's just a wolf, it's just weird that it's that big, but that thing was massive. It took up the entire tailgate of a pickup and was hanging off both sides. That is not normal for a wolf.
No, definitely not. You know, and then for the Dogman thing, yeah, in history, there was whole nations of Dogmen. You know, you had which Saint Michael?
Michael, the dog-headed saint.
Yeah, him too. You know, you got a new.
No, I'm sorry, Saint Christopher, not Saint Michael. I'm sorry about
Saint
that.
Christopher.
What about St. Anthony? Jeez, I mean, don't leave me out.
The doggy dog.
No, the savior. No, St. Anthony's the savior of children.
There you go.
Yeah.
I've got a St. Christopher medallion around here somewhere.
Yeah, my dad had one when he was a cop.
Yeah, I've got one that our sheriff gave us one year when it's hanging up on my wall.
I keep it in the truck with me above my visor with the rosaries, my dad's rosaries that I have up there.
World 5674 says pelvis is the problem with going from all four to bipedal. You have to have a wide pelvis to sustain an upright walking. Yeah, I agree. But at the same time, I don't think the Dogman spends a lot of time on two legs. I think it's capable of walking on its hind legs, and I've had dogs that can walk around the house on their hind legs. I've seen it done. So it's not impossible for a dog to learn to balance. And
you got to remember, like chimpanzees and gorillas, yeah, they can walk upright too, but they also do all fours. You know, when they want to get moving, they can move. You know, they don't have to have the exact same body structure as an antelope or say a dog to be able to do it. Because when you hear the majority of people talking about Dogmen or Bigfoots when they run on all fours, it's not the traditional way like a horse runs or dog.
It's more of a low.
They're pulling themselves forward.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
well, just like the billy ape. The billy ape it walks upright and it stays that way 98% of the time. You know, it doesn't live in trees. It lives in little bush areas on the ground like a gorilla. But it walks upright 98% of the time, they said. That's the crazy part.
Yeah. I'm still having issues with, like I said, I'm friends with Thinker Tunker. I love the dude. I think he's awesome what he does. Yeah. But did you guys just watch his last video?
No, I haven't seen
it.
I haven't.
Okay. So the last one he put out, like I said, I think he's a great dude, you know? He's great at what he does. His last video, though, he said that there was scientific proof about Bigfoot, right? So I watched it, and it was, again, him saying that Bigfoots only have that one ratio of arm to leg, you know? And I still say we can't put an official box on that.
I agree. There's not enough cross species examination to say they all fit this one ratio.
Right.
But I'd say
we know there are different subspecies, and we know that for a fact because the physical descriptions of the skunk ape is very different than the ones that are describing here in the Midwest and the ones out in the Pacific Northwest. They're different body types. But
I'll say
speaking
for
of big
sure
dog,
that he's locked down one of them. I'll give him that all day. You know what I mean? He's locked down one of the types.
Oh yeah,
For sure.
But it certainly helps rule out humans. I mean, as somebody hoaxing in a suit.
Oh, yeah.
So what he's done has helped us be able to quickly identify hoaxers. But at the same time, I don't think it's indicative of the entire species.
Just think about this, okay?
Mhm.
I ain't trying to be hateful. Okay, I got none but love for what's his name? Okay, Jerry Seinfeld. Remember that show?
Yeah.
Okay, the one that plays his dad, which is Ben Stiller's father. Jerry Stiller.
Yeah.
He does not have a normal shape compared to an average human being.
No, he's a little odd.
Yeah. He's like I said, he's got the longer arms, shorter legs, with that specific torso, and same thing like with Willow Offgood. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Remember on Willow?
Right.
What's the real actor's name? The real actor's name is what?
I can't remember his name.
He's the leprechaun too.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, same thing with him. It's like they're all humans, but they're variations of humans.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Speaking of gigantic canines, though, have you guys ever heard of a dog breed called the American Molossus?
Yeah.
It was only recently recognized as a breed.
Yeah, I've heard of it.
Talking about Dogman being way bigger than human if it stood up on its hind legs, this is an American Molossus, and the next picture to show you will give you a good idea how big these things are.
Yep. That's like the Presicanera.
Mm-hmm.
The Presicanera is like a subspecies of a pit bull, and that's what they are. They're called Presicaneras. They're about that size.
Yeah, the American Molossus is probably 250 pounds.
Yeah, that's what the Presicaneras are.
Look at its freaking front legs. That dog is massive.
DA, punch up Presicanera.
How do you spell it?
Oh God. Jesus. Hold on.
I know that dog looks big in the picture, but in reality, the guy holding him, it's Peter Dinklage.
I didn't know Peter Dinklage had military tattoos.
Hey, ready? I'm going to spell it for you. You ready?
It was for his next role.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. It is spelled Presa dash, okay. Canero. Okay, Canero. Sorry.
I found him. I found it already. If I typed in the first word, the rest of it popped up.
Now get a full-size male. Look at the size of this pit bull. This thing is massive.
And these are just dog breeds.
Yeah.
Holy cannoli. This dog would make my Harley look like a puppy.
This is a pit bull. Now, try to get a picture of it against a regular like a regular size human.
All right, let me see what I can find.
How big these dogs are. And these dogs are bred to kill mountain lions and panthers. Just like the Dago. The Dago, the one from
Dingo?
The white one from Argentina.
Oh,
yeah, look at this thing. That's a Presicanero.
That's a big old dog.
That's a full-size male Presicanero. There he is.
That's the new puppy.
There he is. What is he, husky?
Half husky, half Akita.
There you go.
Pretty pup.
Yeah.
Her name is Baby Bigfoot.
Baby Bigfoot.
Because she has really big paws.
He's gonna be a nice sized dog, man.
Oh yeah. Big old baby.
I see her. She's adorable.
About 9 weeks, going on 10 weeks old. Go on.
What?
Go play.
That dog is almost 10 weeks old?
Yeah.
That dog's gonna be massive, man.
Her paws are literally as big as my full grown huskies.
Yeah, that's big. That's gonna be a big dog. The Akitas are big.
Right.
I know.
Well, folks, the reason we got off to talking about dogs is just to show how big these large breed dogs will be compared to some of these bigger dire wolves. Well, again, let me bring this one back up. This is the Presicanero. That's on its hind legs, and you can see it's leaning. And I wish I could find the pictures of me and my Mastiff when he was jump up on me like that, because he was leaned farther. His hind legs were farther out. Yeah. So with this dog, we're fully standing on its hind legs, and I'm going to just rough guess say this guy is, we'll say 6 feet tall, just for sake of argument. because he looks like he's a pretty good sized guy. If he's 6 foot tall, if that dog extended completely on its hind legs, it would probably be closer to 7 feet.
Yeah.
So take that and add another 100 pounds of these dire wolves being so much bigger.
Oh yeah. But I was going to send a picture, but the phone that I'm using to do this right now has the picture. But I was taking care of some wolves at a pet boarding place, and they had real New Mexico wolves there.
Nice.
And, they were rescues, they were injured, and they took them in, and now they got wolves, So it was a trip getting to work with those wolves, and
that's cool.
Even the Irish Wolfhound, Mark Napier said, I know they're big. Irish Wolfhounds are massive.
Oh yeah,
they're just big. My uncle knew someone that had 2 of them that used to hunt these dogs. They would hunt wolves with Russian Wolfhounds.
Well, you've also got the Caucasian ovcharka, which was bred in the Ural Mountains of Russia to hunt bears. Those things are monsters.
Yeah.
Steve Padden says, look at the paws of the Rhodesian Ridgeback. Yeah. They can flex their claws to grab a hold of lions and can climb trees. Yeah. Well, that's almost a hand adaptation. It's very close.
My Akita does that because they were bred to hunt bears. And it's really weird because I'll be like, oh, little puppy dog. And she'll grab onto my face with her paws. Real strange. Like she grabs. It's creepy as hell. And her front teeth right here, you know how usually it's the shark canines and then they got the little square ones on the dogs? Hers are like sharks in front. They're all sharp. Wow.
Werewolf 5674 says, I'm not picking up that poop.
Yeah, that's big. I mean, yeah, you need a little backhoe in the backyard for that stuff.
No kidding.
You think a horse is dead? That ain't nothing.
Josh Dalton says, Jesus buying dog food by the pallet.
Yeah.
Right.
Bro, if I could tell you how much it costs, I mean, for 3 pit bulls, it's not cheap.
Yep.
Really not cheap.
DA, those pictures of Bailey I sent you, the original one, you can get an idea of how far away I was, because that's the normal, without nothing zoomed in it, no color enhancements or nothing. I wondering if you could guesstimate how big Bailey is, because I don't think Bailey was that large. I could be wrong, but I think it was either, I don't know, shoot, a juvenile, but the face looks all squishy like an old lady almost.
Yeah.
But the shoulders and arms are massive, But
that's a strange thing is animals sometimes it's tough to gauge how much they weigh because we try to think in terms of ourselves. And I got pretty good at guessing height, weight of people as a cop. You'd look at somebody and you could say they're between 5'8" and 5'10", approximately 180 pounds. I got really good at that for reports. But when you look at an animal, the morphology is different. The musculature is different. So, you might look at an animal and go, God, that thing probably weighs 500 pounds and it may only weigh 2. It just looks really broad.
It throws you off. It throws everything off the perspective of it.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many big dog breeds, it's not even funny. I mean, my uncle had a Doberman Warlock, a Warlock Doberman. That thing was just massive. Regular sized Dobermans are big, but this thing was really big. I mean, there's so many breeds out there. Like we talked about the dire wolf, that one video. That thing was it was stupid big in that video. It dwarfed that Labrador.
Like it was as big as the Labrador when it was laying down.
Yeah.
Before it jumped up.
When it stood up on all fours, you were like, "Whoa, what is that?" It was a wolf, but it was just massive. And the guy even got scared that was videotaping it. He was like, "Oh shit, need to go," and he's trying to call the dog, but you notice that dog, that wolf, it looked like it was playing with the dog.
Yeah.
Because that wolf could have took out that dog anytime it wanted to.
Well, one of the behaviors noted in wolves And I believe it was Tim Coonbo Baker told about this on one of the shows I watched. He was talking about he raises German shepherds. He's always got a German shepherd with him, and he said, well, they were camped in believe it was LBL. A female wolf came to the edge of the camp and was acting playful, trying to draw that German shepherd out. And he said, I wouldn't let it go because I knew dang good and well she was just going to lure it out so the rest of the pack could tear it apart.
Right.
So it makes me wonder if that's what it was doing, if it was trying to lure that dog farther away where the rest of the pack could get it.
That's why I never went to nightclubs.
You get lured away and destroyed by the pack.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Like, oh, Gonzo, come with me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I go in there and it's all over. It got Tuco and everybody kicking my ass.
Oh,
Well, I got a feeling they would take their lumps doing it.
yeah.
Gotta let the boss win sometimes, though, you know.
Yeah, I hear you. Like I used to say when I was a corrections officer, yeah, you might win, but you're going to remember my name when we're done.
Yep.
Yep. Oh, definitely. Definitely.
My dad would say that. You hear two noises. Me hit you, you hit the ground. Oh, excuse me, three noises. Me hit you, you hit the ground, and you'll hear the ambulance coming.
Yeah,
That was my dad would say. Yeah.
That's how I got on the extraction team at the detention center. Was my first day working there. When I got off, I went in to the gym, the prison gym, and after 6 o'clock they have lockdown. They said that the detention officers can work out in there.
Mhm.
So I'm all tatted up, as you can see,
Right.
and I went in there without my shirt and was working out, and they thought a prisoner had escaped to work out. And they sent the extraction team to get me, and I ended up beating the shit out of the extraction team. And Director Sanchez was yelling at me, Payan, stop beating up my guys, and he's one of us, you morons. And when he stopped, he said, would you be interested in being on the extraction team?
Yeah. Yeah.
I was on our riot team, on what we called the CERT team, the Corrections and Emergency Response Team. And
Right.
I was usually the point guy, the first guy through the door, and I loved that. It was a lot of fun.
Yep.
But we trained against other teams, and we would go force on force with these other teams, man. And I didn't hold anything back, man. I'm like, you're gonna train the way you work, man. So we had a mock cell set up, and they would come to do cell extractions. And there's got a video of me somewhere playing the bad guy, and I made them earn it. They got me in handcuffs, but they earned it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
used to work-
being pepper sprayed ain't fun. I can tell you that. So
I've been both many times.
Me too.
Yeah,
It ain't
but I
fun.
was working for the behavioral science department, training the, officers, FBI, sheriffs, the cadets on crisis de-escalation, and for a lot of the officers that had shot somebody or killed somebody in the line of duty,
Right.
and they needed to get the check mark that says they could go back on duty, and they would send me in to do scenarios with them to get them to antagonize them pretty much and see if I could do it and actually cause them to shoot me. And that was the goal, is I had to get them to shoot me without threatening them, without jumping or lunging at them. I had to just piss them off enough where they would shoot me. And if they, I had all kinds of things I would do, to do it, that I've been, trained to do. But yeah, so it was a trip. How many times a lot of the guys out there, it affected them so strongly that I had officers freaking out. They're holding a rubber gun or a wooden gun, and they're really trying to kill me. Like, they were really upset.
You're not
to where they
5'5". You're 6'3", 300 and something. I mean, if you got out of a car on me at a convenience store, I think twice too about pulling my Glock. I'm sorry. I love you to death, brother. I'm sorry.
Right.
I mean, I'm not a chicken shit, but I'd be like, well, I could wind up in the intensive care, or I could go home.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah,
so scaring the shit out of someone. I mean, come on.
That's a good thing about, like, when I was a bouncer, so many clubs, just the being there
Right.
was a huge effect on what didn't go down.
Right.
And it was rare that I, in those at the clubs I worked at, that I actually had to get physical.
It's your persona, and it's the way you present yourself to someone.
Yeah.
And I've been told that too. Everybody that meets, I'm not tooting my own horn. Anybody that meets me, even my wife, fiance, I call her my wife. She says it. She goes, "You have this nasty look to you when you walk into a room or a restaurant," and I don't mean to.
Right.
I don't mean to have that. She goes, "You give off this persona like, don't mess with me, leave me alone," and that's it. And DA, I'll tell you, I'm a nice guy. I'm a sweetheart. You know that, Jesus. But that's the persona you put off. I mean, people put off that persona when you have that kind of background, like I do, you do, DA does. You're going to think twice about messing with that person and walking off the street. And that's what you have to put on the act when you're around these criminals.
Mm-hmm.
And it might, you have to show them, okay, I'm not scared of you. That's the way, because they'll eat you alive. Even when I worked security in the courthouse and we'd transport these guys to the chambers, they'd be shackled. They'd still try you.
Oh, yeah.
And they mess with you.
I think that it makes a difference in all of us, because I get the question a lot, how is it you can stay so calm?
Right.
When you're seeing them and filming, and it's like, if they knew my full background,
right,
then they would understand that I've been shot, and all kinds of crazy places and riots, and I mean, you name it, the scariest crap you can imagine. When you're out there in the forest and you see one, it's just, honestly, it's like, how you just like you said, if you're in the jails or you're doing whatever, and any animal can smell fear.
Exactly.
Oh, absolutely.
I know that the Bigfoot would kill me like nothing, easy.
Right.
So what would it help me going, help me, and running,
exactly.
and what for, man? It's just like, okay, if you're gonna do it, you're gonna do it. If not, can I just stare at you and take some pictures?
Right. It's just the way you present yourself, and that's like what I was saying. You have to present yourself to that level. It's not cut out for everyone, the job, or anybody. If you did security, private investigation work, or you did anything like that, bodyguard work, like I did, you've done it. Jesus, you have to come off with that persona to be like, all right, if you're going to do something, you're going to pay the ultimate price because I'm going to stop you.
Well, there was this. I'm sorry. There's this one movie. I was visiting a set, helping somebody out. A beginner actor was freaking out, and they called me and said, "Please, Jesus, come to the set, help me out, bring it out." So I was like, "Okay." So I went, and they let me in the set, and it was Joey Pantaleone is the actor, Joey Pantaleone.
Yeah, Joey Pants.
Yeah, and Sean, was it Sean Flannery?
Sean Patrick Flannery?
Yeah, Sean Patrick Flannery. So I was doing a movie, it was with them, and I went up, and the producers wanted me to meet them and stuff, and I gave them knuckles with everybody, and they were like, "You want to be in the movie?" And I was like, "Sure." And it was a club scene and a nightclub scene, and they're getting everything ready, and they're about to shoot, and I'm gonna be just in the background, with the club goers, and you hear cut, and the director's like, "What's the problem?" And one of the producers goes, "What the hell am I supposed to do with that guy?" And then everybody turns to me, and everybody's about this tall to me in the crowd. So I'm kind of sticking out a little bit, And the scene is there's going to be an explosion, and all the club goers run out, right? And I tell the producer, I go, "I am floor security." I go, "When the bomb goes off and everybody runs that way, I run the other way towards the people that are doing it." I go, "That's the difference." He goes, "Well, so you know what you're doing?" I was like, "Yeah." He goes, "Okay, do it." But I'm just giving that example of the difference in average society versus people that are in law enforcement, people that, you know, do the things that we've done. It's a whole different thought process. You know, I can't go to bars unless I'm working at them. I can't go to nightclubs or bars because I'm just analyzing everybody, watching everybody, trying to figure out, you know, what they're going to do before they do it. I can't have fun. It sucks, you know. But it's the same thing with this whole thing with what we're doing. Is I think it does imply in how we react to all this stuff.
I agree, and it takes we had guys that we would train because I worked for the Greene County Sheriff's Office as a CO. It wasn't state like in DOC; it was in Oak County, but we were a 1,000-bed facility. I mean, it wasn't like we were a tiny facility. And we had guys that I would train, and they'd look at me and they'd go, "Dude, I just can't do this." And I don't say anything bad about guys that can't handle it because it takes a special breed. I used to tell everybody it takes a special kind of crazy to be a CO. But you got to walk through, and we were direct supervision right through the middle of them, and I could walk through the middle of our violent offenders pod and be completely, you know, in my own world. Just no, it wasn't messed with. I didn't have any issues with the inmates because I carried myself like I was not the guy you wanted to try to take on. It's basic dog psychology. You project fear, you're going to get bit. Yep. I try to have that same mentality when I'm out in the field, like Jesus is talking about. You know, sure, Bigfoot can rip my arms off, but I'm not going to let it see me afraid.
Yep.
Thanks to William Bedard for that. He says work corrections for 2 years. God bless you guys. You too, brother. Takes a special breed. I did it for 10 years, and I got some pretty wild stories.
I bet. One of the craziest, like you said, there's many, was one of our prisoners had killed his father by skinning him alive and then beating him to death. I don't know how he was still alive, but then beat him to death with his own crutch.
And, it is possible to skin somebody alive and not.
And we had him in his cell, in a set cell, and when we came back, he had somehow ripped open his stomach and pulled out all his guts. He was playing with his guts. He was just like, la, 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 blah, 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 you know? And, I mean, some of them, just stuff that I've seen working, you know, for the county in Albuquerque. Albuquerque's, woo! You know what I mean?
Yeah, I have a couple of stories that are similar to that. I can tell you that I don't want to tell on the air.
Yeah, it's craziness. But long story short, there's reasons why we don't go, when we see scary stuff these days. You know? Yeah.
I've been in cells that had blood dripping from the ceiling. I've carried friends out, and I've been carried out. It's a different world. Working behind the walls it's a very, very different world, and it's not for everyone. I don't recommend it to everybody. It is a very difficult, very hard job to do. And, you know, my hat's off and my prayers are with anybody that's still doing it, because I worked those walls for 10 years and I've got the scars and the nightmares to prove it.
Yep. Yeah.
David Bice is definitely a special type of crazy, and it shows. Exactly. Thank you for the super chat, brother.
Yeah, I'd love to once I get that RV, and I'm going to be doing multiple Comic-Cons throughout the year. And the money that those Comic-Cons are going to generate for me, because when the RV is not in Breaking Bad mode, I wanted it to be in Breaking Bigfoot mode.
Right.
You know, so in between all the Comic-Cons, the money that I generate will way more than compensate paying for all that gas and traveling to research across the United States. You know what I mean?
Which should be freaking awesome when you get it. 1980 says my grandfather did 20 years in Louisiana Department of Corrections in Angola. Wow. That's hardcore. My dad spent 10 years behind the walls at JCCC, the Jefferson City Correctional Center. It was known as the bloodiest 48 acres west of the Mississippi. They had so many riots there. There were a couple of riots while my dad worked there, and JCCC is no joke. The old walls, the ones that were built in the mid 1800s, are still there. You can tour them. They do ghost tours, but they built a modern prison just like down the road from it that now carries the name Jefferson City Correctional Center. But the original JCCC was called the Bloody 48.
Damn. Have you heard of the Santa Fe prison?
My brother was part of the National Guard unit that broke that riot.
I've been locked up in there. I've been locked up in that prison 3 times.
You were a bad boy. You were a bad boy.
As an actor.
As an actor.
I always played the bad guy. So I've done 3 movies where I'm locked up in that prison. I have to literally stay in that cell, all day long and sometimes all night for movies and stuff.
That riot they had there was in 80 or 81. My brother, we lived in New Mexico at the time. My brother Brian was part of the National Guard unit that went in and broke that riot up.
Yep. There's still the shape of bodies burned into the cement.
Yeah, he said there were some places you could go and take your baton, your nightstick, and crack it on the ground, and cakes of blood would crack off the floor.
Yeah.
That was a brutal riot.
I was locked up for 2 years. My ex-wife, it was not good. I couldn't stand her. She had me in that house locked up for 2 years. Just didn't work out.
No furloughs, nothing.
Nothing. Couldn't deal with it.
I feel you.
Yeah.
Well, we're kind of gotten off the cryptid subject. We should probably get back to cryptids.
So Bigfoot in prison wouldn't work because they're too strong. They'd be breaking out.
Rip the bars off.
Yeah. But back to the Choctaw Nation. That's what this episode is on.
Who? What were we talking about? Oh, yeah, that's right.
Just imagine the scene of that hill with all those bodies on it. You know?
Well, the Tubby brothers, being as big as they are, those guys could not have ridden regular horses. They would have had to have ridden draft horses.
Straight up. I've ridden horses before, and I've broken horses. And I don't mean like the cool way breaking them. I mean like the back was like all like a U shape. I was practicing for a movie, and they'd send me to this place that had horses, and the guy was like, "Here you go, to get on your horse," and I was like, "It's not big enough." At the time, I weighed about 455, and he was like, "Oh, don't worry, she's strong. You just go ahead and climb up on it." And I was like, "Okay." So I got up on it, and the horse made a funny sound, and I heard a, and I jumped off, and the horse's back was bent.
So I guess you're not doing any guest spots on Yellowstone.
No.
Okay, I just
Unless
wondered.
it's tackling horses or something.
Yeah.
Well, unless they need somebody to carry one off.
Yeah.
Right. But so I can only imagine just reading so many different, wild man stories, and like I said, back then it was way more common for them to get away with stuff like that. The Bigfoots, doing so now they have to be really covert and not so blatant. Not all the time, but
there's so many tribes. There's so many tribes all across the United States that had lore and stories handed down from generations of these things coming into camp and stealing children, stealing women, sometimes even stealing men. But there's lots of lore of the Native Americans about Sasquatch abducting people. And with that in mind, that story does not become that far-fetched.
Nope, not really.
So even if the story, we can't say 100% one way or the other whether or not the story is true. What I can say is it's very probable.
Yes. Oh, for sure. Like the people that have run into Bigfoots, that have heard the Bigfoots, I mean, just full on raw to them, the way people have described it, like it shakes. It shakes.
So you can feel it.
The floor, it shakes whatever you're in. And I mean, you feel it in your chest. So imagine a whole group of them really pissed off and doing that, screaming at you. It's like it's amazing that those the Tubby brothers were even able to continue at them with them sending that vibration out or whatever,
Okay.
Yes, I agree. Big hairy girls need love too, but not all the time, because now I have a very, very evil baby mama, my first child. She was large and hairy.
Makes me
Come
think of
on.
that episode of Futurama. Me want snoo.
For real, it wasn't much different. I was up in the hills of Ruidoso when I met that woman. Mm-hmm. Yep.
William Bedard is on the head. It's kind of going back to being a CEO. Fair, firm, and consistent is what I told every rookie I ever trained. You want to go far in as a CEO, be fair, firm, and consistent. What's no today better be no tomorrow.
Yep.
Cole says Native American stories to me are much more accurate than what I was taught in school. I totally agree.
Yeah. And it's history. It's not, myths or just legends. When we talk about it to each other, it's history. We never say, that one myth
Yeah.
that grandpa was talking about, or something.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's a trip, that's, people still don't understand that it's history too.
Corey Cole asked earlier. I put it up, but I forgot to read it off. He asked if you'd ever researched in the Ruidoso area. He says Ruidoso is a strange place.
Oh yeah, I lived in Ruidoso. My sister was a police officer there, and my mom helped run the forest department there. So I definitely have researched all over Ruidoso, Capitan, Ruidoso Downs, Alto.
I've been there.
All
My
those
sister
places.
used to live in TRC.
Yep. So definitely from there down to Mescalero to Cloudcroft down, keeps on going, I would research all that place.
Steve Patton says, I want to take a tour of the walls of the DOC in Jeff City. My nephew, I don't know if he's listening tonight, his name's Adam Roberts. My nephew is a officer at the current JCCC, and he used to be a tour guide at the old walls that would take people on the ghost tours. He's got some pretty creepy ghost stories from the old walls.
Nice.
I need to get him to come on. He sent me a crap load of pictures that he took inside the walls, and I don't want to show them until I get him to come on. So, Adam, if you're listening, you know what days you're going to be off, brother. I want to get you on here.
Okay.
Yeah, tell Jesus I got what's his name probably coming on the show.
Todd?
No, Scott. I have Dylan Scott that those Bigfoot are attacking his house that live up in northern Florida I was telling you about. He contacted me. He had a medical issue back in March. So I've been texting with him and stuff. So and we'll see if I can get him on the show and talk about it. So it should be a good one. I mean, the pictures that I showed you guys, the one where, you're ripping the door handle off, ripping the door. That's the kind of activity that's going on up there. So he's got 5 of them on the property, and that one male is just very aggressive towards him. So see if I can get him on here and talk about it.
Yeah, we definitely want to do that and get more pictures.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure he has them. I'm sure he took them. But I'll talk to him, see if I can get him and his wife on the show. Because he says the activity is just crazy. And like I said, I was on the phone with him that one night, and I can hear the thing beating on the side of the house when he was on he was on his wife's phone talking to the deputy sheriffs trying to get into the house. And they're there regularly. They're like, oh, here we go again. But yeah. So,
Jesus, I know you know who Brenda Harris is. If you've got any contact with her, I would love to get her on the show. Like have you and her both on at the same time. You don't want to?
I'll connect you with her. But I'll let her do the show on her own,
Okay. I would like to hear about that off the air.
Most definitely.
Martin Napier says, I'll play with the big cryptids, but ghosts and spooks are a big no. Yeah, I'm right there with you. If I can't shoot it, I don't want to mess with it. I've had paranormal incidents in my lifetime, but those are the ones that always wig me out. John Allen asked me, how's my back doing? It's okay. I mean, it's about as good as it gets these days. So I'm okay. I just got to shift me. You see me like like lifting myself up, I'm shifting my weight in the chair. So as long as I shift around a little every once in a while, I'm all right.
Well, that's what happens, Jay, when you're deadlifting over 800 pounds. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's it.
With one hand.
With one hand, yeah, curling it.
That's what happens when you get older. Your body breaks down too. Yeah.
Right.
280 pounds of twisted steel and sex appeal.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. You know what I'd like to see? A Bigfoot arm wrestling competition.
Ooh, that would be interesting. If it's against humans, he's just going to have a pile of torn off arms.
Not against humans, against each other.
Yeah, even Joe, I was telling you.
They'd have to use their finger for
my
us.
uncle's back is
You know?
like, his back is so messed up right now, and I know he's suffering right now too. He's going through the same thing like you are, DA. So he's just hurting, you know. So
I feel his pain. I hope it gets better.
Right.
Hope it gets better for him. I want to go down to the McCurtain County Wilderness area. I mean, going back to the Choctaw thing, there are accounts coming out of there even now of Bigfoot sightings in that area. I haven't found any Dogman stories from that area, but I found a lot of Bigfoot sightings out of that area. And since that's a national park, I need to look and see if it might be on the missing 411 list, because he's profiled a lot of national parks. I need to check my notes.
Yeah, I want to get use the Breaking Bigfoot comic.
Mhm.
You know, from my profits. I want to use that for research.
Oh, absolutely.
So
yeah,
because I have other things going too, but I think that would make sense and be a good reason for other Bigfooters to buy it, because
right.
it'll be funding Bigfoot research and good research.
If I get a chance to go down to McCurtain, I'm going to take a lot of pictures and a lot of video, and I'll send them to you. That way, the artist has actual location shots.
Well, that'd be great. That would be great. You know what I mean?
That's my plan.
I imagine if we had a package deal, you know, you could order the book and the comic book and the movie. You know what I mean? You could
in the audio book.
Yeah, audio book, the whole deal.
Speaking of audio books, I don't know if you guys. I had quite a few people asking me about the audio books, my books on audio here recently, and I do have some news on that. Cameron Buckner, who has been doing the Codename Wild Hunt books, has announced that when he finishes the books he currently is working on, he is no longer going to be doing audio books. He's going to concentrate on his own stuff, which means for the Wild Hunt, I'm without a narrator, but I'm exploring the option of doing some of them myself.
Ooh.
I was reading a thing about it. The pros and cons of doing it yourself. The pros are, I know the characters, I know how they sound, I know all the details. But the cons against that is, as my wife pointed out, is it's going to eat up a lot of time. Yeah.
And do you like doing voices or what?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I've done voices for years. I mean, I've done quite a few on here. I've done, when I used to tell stories to my boys, they would insist I do all the voices. So cool. Yeah, I do all kinds of crazy voices.
Nice, very cool. Heck yeah.
So I am going to be looking for other potential audio narrators. I know Kerry Davis wants to do some of the books. He's currently in the process of setting up his audio area. I'm going to get with my youngest son, Noah, who's my tech guy. He's my tech genius. We're going to get together and make sure all the equipment I have is good enough to do the high quality sound that I want for the audio books. I've got the new sound mixing board. Hey, Fred.
Fred's here. Hey, buddy.
Hey, Fred in Alaska.
Yeah, if you guys get a chance, go to his channel.
Definitely.
What's it called?
Yeah, Subarctic Sasquatch.
Yeah, go to his channel.
Fantastic channel.
He's going out and doing some good stuff.
Arctic Sasquatch.
Yeah, he's really cool. Fred's a good guy. Love you, man.
Heck yeah, very cool. Well, guys, unfortunately, I'm going to have to sign off. It is the wife's birthday.
Well, tell her happy birthday.
Yeah,
I got her a heart-shaped pizza.
There you go.
There you go.
So hopefully,
we're on 2 hours anyway.
It'll put a smile on her face, and we'll have a good night.
Well,
all right, brother. You be safe. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you guys very much. And yeah, of course, like I said, anybody out there, wants to help us with this expedition RV situation, it's Kickstarter.com, Breaking Bad RV Expedition. Just look that up, and if you want to donate $1, you can donate $1. We're not asking for billions of bucks or nothing, just whatever anybody can do to help us out. So thank you guys, and Anthony, DA, we will be talking soon.
All right, brother, you be safe.
All right, you guys take care.
Have a good night, man.
You too, bro.
There we go. All right. Yeah, we're on 2 hours already, so.
Yeah. I figured we'd start winding up here in the next few minutes. But, everybody that's listening in on the chat tonight, I know we've got about 75 people watching. What do you guys think about the audiobooks? Would you guys be interested in having me do the audiobooks? Is that something that people would be excited about? Or should I be looking for somebody else? I've got so many books out that it's going to be a long process getting them all out. I think I could do it without necessarily taking away too much time from the writing, because I've been pretty lucky with this new book that I'm working on. The new book, Mans and Marauders, is coming along pretty well. It's been flowing well.
You got John that wants to try it now. I told you that, so.
Well, you guys would have to have a sound studio.
Yeah, I know.
That would be the tough one. Because the hard part is meeting ACX's requirements.
What is that? I don't know.
ACX is the company that Amazon owns that does the audiobooks.
Mm-hmm.
The list of requirements is on the ACX website, acx.com. There's one of the drop menus if you want to be a narrator. It tells you, the kind of sound quality you need. Tells you how to do the videos and everything. So there's a lot of pretty high end requirements. You've got to have a really good mic. You've got to have a certain level of quiet behind you. There can't be a lot of extraneous background noise. Deborah Hoffman says, "Do you think these creatures are animals or part human?" I think Bigfoot is somewhere along the evolutionary path between us and apes.
Yeah.
When I say Bigfoot is a primate, it's the same. It's the same with humans. Humans are a primate. So I'm not necessarily saying it's not an intelligent animal, but humans are just animals too. We have evolved higher intelligence. I think they're very intelligent, and I think some of them are smart enough to be tool users. We know that they've abducted people from Native American lore and possibly the missing 411s. So yeah, they're very intelligent, and I think they can be very dangerous. Hey, thanks, Keith. Keith says yes to you doing audiobooks. Thanks, man. Mm-hmm. Appreciate it. Keith, I hope you get feeling better. Guys, I'd shared that before. I don't have the link handy, but keep Keith in your thoughts and prayers. Keith is fighting cancer, so brother, my prayers are with you, and hope you have a speedy recovery, brother. Mark Napier says, "I like paper, but it would be awesome if you did the audiobooks." Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Looking to see if there's any other comments. Naoma says, "Hi, Naoma, how you doing?" She says, "I think it'd be really cool. I think it would be a lot of fun to do. Mm-hmm. I could do a chapter and then send it to Noah and let him do the edits on it, and then I could just start writing. And if I did a chapter, if I did two chapters, if I did a chapter every other day, I could probably have an audio book done every month if I could do it. I'd have to have Noah doing the editing." 1980 CNH said, "I think you could do the audio, but you can find somebody to do it, then I'm fine with it either way. I wish I could do something like that, but my accent is thick." So I don't mind accents. That's why I liked having Cam doing it, because he's got the perfect accent. I mean, I'm just a hillbilly from the sticks of Missouri. Naoma says, "Low Patty had an issue with my recording that ACX won't accept. May have gotten it fixed, but I'm reluctant to say yes to anyone unless I know I can complete the project." I'm right there with you. I've got to make sure that I can meet ACX's requirements before I'll even decide if I'm going to do it. Lanita, I like that comment from Lanita. But yeah, I definitely have got to start getting more audiobooks out. It's been a long time coming, and yes, it is a slow process to get them done. But unfortunately, we've kind of had issues with maintaining and getting and maintaining and keeping narrators. I'm losing Cam. Naoma was going to do the Lakeview Man books, but she wasn't able to do it. My original narrator for the Lakeview series, Eli, he's with Small Town Monsters. He took a full-time position as a documentarian, so I lost Eli. And so right now the choice of narrators is up in the air. I know Doc wants to do some of them, but again, he still doesn't have his setup yet, and Noah and I are going to explore the possibility of if I've got a good enough sound system to do it. I think I do, but we'll have to find out. Heidi raised this question. Finished Dark Moon, so great. How long till the sequel? Well, I can't give you a firm date, but look for something that will continue that story before the end of the year, within the next few months. I've got a couple other projects I've got to get done first, but it's definitely in the pipeline. Man's Marauders is next. That's the one I'm working on right now. Then I've got Codename Wild Hunt, Death and Dyatlov Pass. That's coming right up after that, and then probably the project after that will be the continuation of the fantasy series. Hey, William, thank you again, man. Just do it yourself, and you and NOA keep it in house. DOA idea. Yeah, so that's kind of my logic too. Is I will keep the majority of it in house.
Mm-hmm.
Robert Miller says your audio. Thanks. Hey, Sentinel's in the house. He says your audio books are awesome, DA. Thanks, brother. I appreciate that, man. If anybody knows has read the Codename Wild Hunt or Apex Predator books, you'll recognize this gentleman as Sentinel. So yeah, he's in the books. He's a good friend of mine. Great dude. And then Mark Napier, I think you guys will recognize him from the new book. And I've got a specific character in mind in the next book where I'm going to have one named after Anthony as well. So as be looking for that. Dilma says DX Monk, and I can do a chapter of Lakeview and see if ACX will accept it. Yeah, if you'd like to. I mean, you were my choice for Lakeview anyway, since the Lakeview series is now told from Amanda's point of view. So having you do that would be freaking awesome.
She has the perfect voice for it. I mean, it's smooth. You know, when I listen to her, I listened to the one podcast you put on the other day. It's like it just draws you in with her voice. You know.
1980 CNH says, hey, what about that offshoot series you were talking about with the Italian triplets? That's in the works as well. Plus, I've got another series that's a spinoff of the Codename Wild Hunt books. It's going to be called Project Olympus. And that's kind of like, well, it's going to be very similar to Codename Wild Hunt, but with a different protagonist, a different antagonist. It's not going to be cryptids. So I've got a ton of writing projects.
This is look, it'll just kill you off, Anthony.
But if I do it, it'll be in truly gruesome way. So there's always that.
I hope I go out with the fight. That's the whole thing.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
I try not to kill people off unless I just have to. But sometimes it does make sense for the story. I have been called Dr. Death a few times. I tend to be rough on background characters.
Yeah, you do.
We're a little after a 2-hour mark. I wanted to get that in about the audio books and find out what you guys thought. 1980 CNH says, is it gods or aliens? Yeah, I don't want to let the cat out of the bag, so we'll just have to wait. The characters that are going to become the core of the Project Olympus books will be introduced in the next Wild Hunt book. So you're going to meet some of those characters, and it's going to set up the spinoff. Robert Miller says, I do the audio books, but the voice is not sexy enough. Well, and the great thing was I could pay you in crayons, brother.
Oh,
Robert's a jarhead. Love you, brother.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I send him crayon memes all the time.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Lanita says, did y'all hear the story about the Alaskan Sasquatch today with one of Cam's? It was awesome. I have not listened to that yet. I don't get to listen to as many podcasts as I like to. David By says, "Yeah, I like how you killed Heimdall." I think I've killed more than one Heimdall. I reuse the code name, but if you look at the listings on the I've been putting. I think I didn't do that in the last book. I need to put the team roster, and you'll see that the names change. So there's only so many Norse gods you can use. So the Heimdall code name gets reused. The Heimdall is always Valkyrie Spotter.
What I thought was cool is that one show that is on Amazon Prime, their call sign is Odin.
Yeah.
If you listen to it.
Yeah, I love that.
I caught that when I was watching it, and I thought I texted you. I was like, "Oh, you got to see this."
Tombstone just gave us a super chat. He says, "Great show, much love." Hey, much appreciated, man. Thank you so much.
Yeah, that was cool. Thank you.
Robert says, "Damn, I'm a rich man."
The crayons, yeah. If they're Crayolas, yeah.
Yeah. Get him the big 64 pack, the one with the sharpener.
Okay, all right. So anyway, yeah. So let me ask you a question. Who am I going to be in one of the books? I'd like to know myself.
You're gonna be one of the Wild Hunt characters.
Okay.
So.
All right. I'm not even going to ask anymore. All right, I'll see.
You'll show up in the next Wild Hunt.
Thanks.
I don't know. Maybe you'll be the next Heimdall.
Yeah, I know. That's what I was thinking. I was a short character in that book, but okay.
Okay, well, folks, it has been a good show tonight. Thanks, Jesus, and his buddy Alan for coming on. We covered a lot of good territory tonight. There are a lot of projects in the works. I'm working on some graphic novel ideas with Jesus. We've got a couple of story ideas that we're wanting to do, and he also wants to turn them into screenplays. So we may have some opportunity to see some stuff that I've been involved in on a bigger screen, and hopefully that will lead to my books going onto a bigger screen. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed.
Yeah.
And Toshi the Wolf says, "I knew one Heimdall got killed by a Wendigo, but what other one died?" I've got to go back. I think I might have killed the other Heimdall in the one that's set in Argentina. Codename Wild Hunt. What was that one called?
Oh,
I wrote the name thinking I forgot.
Oh God. Oh, hold on.
It's bad when I forget the titles of my own books.
And I've read them too and listened to them. Shit. Oh God. Oh, my mind is shot. Right. I haven't.
Now I'm just gonna have to look it up.
I haven't slept. I know. I haven't slept, man. I haven't slept really good past 2 nights. John knows why too. So my phone's been nonstop ringing.
Operation Blood Eagle.
That's it. I see.
There we go. 1988 says Anthony will be the new Huntsman 2-6 once you give Margolin a new call sign. And I have assigned Margolin a call sign. You guys will see that in the next book. Margolin's a fun character. I love that little idiot. He's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
There's a lot of me in Margolin. There really is.
Yeah. Isn't John? I thought John was in. Isn't John in the
Yeah, I put John as part of the original Wild Hunt team.
Yeah, he's still alive. You didn't kill him off.
Nope. I am going to do a Wild Hunt book about one of the Alaskan teams going into Port Locke, Alaska, up in the Port Chatham area. And they're going to flash back to the time the first team went in there right after Vietnam. And John's one of the original team members.
Yeah, I know. That's what we were talking about that. That's pretty cool. William Nighthawk saying, "Hey, William."
Hey, William. Hey, brother. Thank you for popping in, brother. Appreciate it. Yeah, we're 2 hours and 15 minutes in. We're going to go ahead and start wrapping things up. I want to thank everybody that came on tonight. Thank Jesus and Alan for taking time out and hanging out with us. We had a great conversation tonight. You know, we talked about a wide variety of subjects. I don't think we stuck to any one more than about 20 minutes.
No, that was the best part. So
we meandered around multiple subjects, and we did talk about the Choctaw War the Bigfoot War of 1855, which Jesus and I are going to be doing a novelized version of that story. So yes, there'll be some dramatic license because the whole story could be told in 4 pages. So I've got to really do a lot of build up and history and background on the characters. And, in order for me to make a character's death seem significant, you have to be invested in the character. So I'm going to have to really go back and develop these characters and give you a reason to care about them. So, Mark Napier says you need to meet my buddy Mike DA. He's Margolin, definitely. I think we all know a Margolin. But yeah, well, there's a lot of stuff in the pipeline in the near future. And if you guys are members of the Patreon, you can actually get a what's the word I'm looking for? Preview. Yes. I are a writer. I write much good. You can get a preview of the current book, Man's Marauders. I put the first chapter up in the Patreon community. So if you guys want to check that out, if you're members of the Patreon community, that is already up and for people to check out. I've also got a couple of videos that I need to get posted that were for the Patreon community. But unfortunately, since Noah's computer has been down, he hasn't been able to edit them for me. So as soon as his computer is back online, which should be this week, he's got a couple of videos that he's got to edit together for me. And we'll put those up on the Patreon community and also for the people that are members of the YouTube channel here. So they'll be exclusive for Patreon and for channel members. So you guys will get a shot at that. And if you guys want an advanced look at the first chapter of the Man's Marauders, it is up on the Patreon community. So you can find that at patreon.com/DARobertsauthor. Again, thank you guys for coming in tonight. Thank you guys for joining us. You guys have been awesome. A lot of great comments in the chat tonight. Much love. Appreciate you guys so much. I am definitely looking into doing some of these audiobooks myself. I think I would like to do either myself do the Apex Predator books or talk to somebody. I've got one person specifically in mind I would like to have narrate the Apex Predator books because I know he could do all of the pronunciations of some of the words. Completely derailed my train of thought. But, again, thank you guys so much for joining us and being a part of the show here and being part of everything. And you guys are the best. You guys are absolutely awesome. I've said it many times, and I will always continue to say it. Stories are journeys that we take together. And I want to thank each and every one of you for taking those journeys with us. And the journeys are just getting started. It's like my catch line says, if you look at the little DA logo, it says the end is only the beginning. And I've been saying that since my first book came out. The end is only the beginning, and we are just getting started, folks. There's a lot of books to come and a lot more shows. So thank you guys so much. We will see you guys, what is this, Saturday? We will see you guys Wednesday night, and I hope you guys have a wonderful evening, a wonderful weekend, and we will see you next time. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Thank you for joining us. Catch us again Wednesdays and Saturdays on DAX Machina. A special thanks to all our channel members and Patreon supporters. Please make sure to like, share, and subscribe.